December 1971. A man in a suit boards a plane with a briefcase, orders a bourbon and soda, and hands a note to the flight attendant. What follows is one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history. This is the story of D.B. Cooper, the man who hijacked a plane, extorted $200,000 in ransom, and vanished into thin air. No body, no parachute, no definitive suspect, just a trail of clues, false leads, and a legend that's never died. What if I told you the FBI spent 45 years trying to crack this case, and he still failed? What if D.B. Cooper didn't just disappear, but may have planned everything down to the last detail? Buckle up, because this mystery is stranger than fiction. November 24th, 1971. It's the day before Thanksgiving. Northwest Orient Flight 305 departs from Portland, Oregon, en route to Seattle. On board are 36 passengers and 6 crew members. Among them, a man in his mid-40s using the name Dan Cooper, a name later twisted into the infamous moniker D.B. Cooper due to a reporter's error. He's calm, polite, even courteous. He's dressed sharply, dark suit, black tie, white shirt, sunglasses. He takes seat 18C. Not long after takeoff, he hands a folded note to flight attendant Florence Schaffner. Assuming it's just a phone number, she slips it into her purse. But Cooper leans closer and quietly says, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Inside his briefcase, red cylinders wired to a battery. Whether real or fake, it looks convincing. Cooper's demands are simple: $200,000 in negotiable American currency, 4 parachutes, 2 primary and 2 reserves, and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle to refuel the plane for a second flight. If any of this isn't done, he says, he'll blow up the aircraft. The airline contacts authorities. The FBI advises compliance. As the plane circles Seattle for nearly 2 hours, Cooper remains calm, sipping his bourbon and chatting with the crew. The passengers have no idea they're part of a hijacking. At 5:39 p.m., the plane lands at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. The ransom and parachutes are delivered. Cooper releases all 36 passengers but keeps several crew members on board. His next instructions are highly unusual. Fly to Mexico City at a speed of no more than 200 knots, at an altitude no higher than 10,000 feet, with the rear air stair extended. The pilots explain they can't fly that far without stopping for fuel. Cooper agrees to a refueling stop in Reno, Nevada. The plane takes off again around 7:40 p.m. into stormy night skies. Somewhere over the forests of southwestern Washington, between 8 p.m. and 8:15 p.m., the rear air stair activates. A sudden change in cabin pressure is detected. Cooper has jumped. He's wearing a business suit and loafers, carrying a parachute and a bag containing $200,000 in cash, roughly $1.4 million today. And just like that, he's gone. The FBI launches NORJAC, short for Northwest Hijacking. It's one of the most extensive investigations in U.S. history. Over the next few months, agents interview hundreds of people, check every airport, military base, and criminal record in the country. The physical evidence left behind is frustratingly sparse. A black clip-on tie, 8 Raleigh cigarette butts, and 2 parachutes. One unused, the other a dummy reserve chute with no functional ripcord, possibly selected by mistake. The hijacker's fingerprints? Partial at best. The money was marked with serial numbers. For years, banks and businesses are told to watch for any $20 bills from the ransom. None surface. Until 1980, when an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram digs up 3 bundles of decaying $20 bills while vacationing with his family near the Columbia River. Totaling $5,800, the serial numbers match the ransom, but there's no sign of the rest of the money, or Cooper. Over the years, the list of suspects grows into the hundreds. Some are promising. Most lead nowhere. Richard McCoy. A former Army veteran who hijacked a plane in April 1972 in nearly identical fashion. He used a fake grenade and demanded $500,000. He even escaped from prison once. But McCoy was ruled out. Different appearance, different MO, and he had an alibi for Thanksgiving weekend in 1971. Dwayne Weber. A dying man who confessed to his wife, "I'm Dan Cooper." She claims he had nightmares, a knee injury from a parachute jump, and even took her to the Columbia River spot years before the money was found. But no definitive proof links him to the crime. Robert Rackstraw, ex-Green Beret, explosives expert, and career con man. Some investigators believed strongly in his guilt, pointing to coded letters allegedly signed by D.B. Cooper that match his military records. But Rackstraw always denied involvement, and the FBI never charged him. Kenneth Christiansen, a former paratrooper and airline employee who bore a passing resemblance to Cooper. He lived modestly, but left behind large sums of money. But again, no hard evidence. There's even a theory Cooper didn't survive the jump, parachuting into freezing rain and forested terrain at night in dress shoes. It's a suicide mission, unless he was incredibly skilled, incredibly lucky, or both. In 2016, after 45 years, the FBI closed the Norjack investigation, shifting focus to more immediate threats. But the mystery of D.B. Cooper never really died. He became a symbol of rebellion, mystery, and the perfect getaway. Books, songs, documentaries, even movies have immortalized his story. There's a yearly festival in Ariel, Washington celebrating Cooper's legend. He's become part of American folklore. People are still combing the forests with metal detectors. Internet sleuths dissect old interviews, compare handwriting samples, and chase leads across continents. The FBI's files are public now, fueling endless speculation. Was Cooper a former CIA operative? A rogue military man? Or just a clever thief who got lucky? The truth might still be out there. Or maybe D.B. Cooper pulled off the impossible and took his secret to the grave. If you liked this story, subscribe for more real-life mysteries and forgotten tales. Let us know in the comments. Who do you think D.B. Cooper really was? A criminal mastermind? A tragic figure? Or just a ghost in the clouds?